We're the Buff Dudes.
And we got some big bands.
Yeah! Seriously, these things are huge. And we're gonna be using them for stage 1.5 of the Buff Dudes mobility band plan. This is gonna be an advanced version of the beginner stage. And we're gonna get started with band walks supersetted with squats. Yeah!
Setting up the band walks now, and with these bands, what you wanna do is just place it right at the base of the neck here. You're gonna squat down and then place your feet just about shoulder width. And then you're going to squat upwards, and this is really the starting position here. But then, once you get in the fully extended position, you're gonna do a little bit of a quarter squat down, just like so. And this is really gonna help engage the muscles. And once you're here, you're gonna take a step in either direction. I'm going left, small steps, keep that tension right in your glutes there, and you're gonna immediately feel it in your gluteus muscles, gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, and gluteus minimus there. It's really stabilizing that movement. It's really firing those glutes up. Ooh. Small walks, and then you're gonna do the other direction just like so. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's funny, an exercise like band walks is probably one that I wouldn't caught dead doing when I was younger, because it just seemed like an exercise that was made maybe for women that want their glutes to look better. But later I learned on that this particular exercise is amazing to really help develop the strength in the glutes, which a lot of people can lack. And developing strength in your glutes can do a lot of things. It can support your knee joint, your hips, and also carry on into other exercises like squats and deadlifts, and really just kind of build a complete structure, because the glutes are really part of that core section and really help you in a lot of ways. So something like the band walks can be absolutely amazing. And right when you're done with the band walks, you're in a perfect position to do the squats. So same thing, the band's the base of your neck, and you're gonna be squatting down, just like so, and pushing back up. What's a little tricky about these bands is that when you get down into this position, the band there's not as much stretch in it, so it seems a little easier, but as you push up, it gets harder and harder and harder, and all of a sudden, you feel those quads really start burning, those glutes start burning, and you feel it working. Ooh. Still try to keep a pretty upright torso. You don't want to bend forward too much. It's gonna want to pull you forward a little bit, so really keep those bands, that band at the base of your neck, kind of around that shoulder area. Squat straight down, and then back up. There we go. Good thing about the bands too is there's different sizes. So of course we're using a little bit of a thicker band, makes it a little bit more difficult, but obviously you'll be able to choose which band works best for you. The more the bands stretch, the harder they get. So you gotta take that into consideration. It's all that accommodating resistance, and it feels pretty damn good. The next two exercises are gonna be focusing a little bit more on back, traps, and shoulders. The first one is going to be band pull-aparts, which is working in horizontal abduction, and your rear delts, your traps really helping with that movement. You're basically just holding the band straight out in front of you and pulling it apart, much like the name explains. You're going to really feel those traps engage, the rear delts, and also a little bit in the front delts too, because you're going to control the motion of the eccentric movement back in the beginning place. So once that's done, immediately supersetting it with bent over rows, which of course is gonna be focusing on your lats, but also your traps and rear delts in that one too, as a secondary muscle group, as well as a little bit in the biceps. So these two paired up together are definitely awesome for that upper body pump. Good thing too is if it gets a little too difficult, see, grabbing it by two, you can actually drop one and now just pull a single part of the band apart. It makes it a little bit lighter, and you don't have to go get another band. You just lighten it up by doing one instead of both. Really want to focus on getting the elbows really high in this one and squeezing your shoulders back, keeping a nice rigid torso. When you get in the top position, trying to hold that position because the band is stretching farther, it gets more difficult. So that top portion there, you're really gonna feel it wanting to snap back in position. But if you hold it, you're really gonna feel that engagement in that muscles. So if you wanna go through these exercises and always get that hold, you know, in that fully contracted place, man, you're really gonna feel the burn then. Whew. Done with the back, it's onto some chesticles. We're gonna be pairing two exercises. One is gonna be clock walks, and the other one is gonna be the chest press. Now clock walks are a bit of a unique exercise, one that probably not a lot of people are familiar with. And what you're gonna be doing is just placing the band here around your hands and bring it around you so that way the band is wrapped around kind of that upper mid back area so it's nice and comfortable. So that way it's secure and it won't roll up or down your back there. And you're gonna be wanting to get in a push-up position. And once you're in the push-up position, you're gonna straighten your arms out and basically be holding that plank position there. And you're going to move one hand out and then the next one in. So you're walking, imagine like your body is a hand on a clock. You're walking 6 repetitions on one way and then walk back 6 repetitions the other way. So that way you're keeping that nice symmetrical movement there. And you'll really notice this one, there's a lot of engagement in the delt, the chest, the triceps, your core, because you have to keep that plank position. But what you're doing is moving your hand out, and that's really gonna be like allowing, okay, I'm gonna do that again.
Okay.
You're moving your hand out, so you're gonna have to stabilize that position, but then you're gonna have to adduct your other hand in. So imagine that one's almost like a fly position where you're pulling it in with your chest. So you're really almost doing like a single arm fly, or at least that's what it's gonna feel like when you pull your arm, one of your arms in there. Oh, there we go. Now on the chest press. Oh, so same position with the band, and now you're just pushing it outward, much like you would a bench press. Keep your shoulders back, really squeeze that chest. Oh, and you fully extend your arms. Ooh. These can be deceiving. Bands, little rubber bands, I can get a good workout with that, but trying these exercises, you'll figure out real quick that you're gonna get some damn good results if you keep this up. Whew. Onto some shoulders, and we're starting out with external rotations. It's really gonna be focusing on the rotator cuffs, some smaller muscles located around the shoulder blade area. And these ones are pretty simple. You wanna keep these light because really you're just grasping a small band like this, just about shoulder width, and you're pulling it apart. But you really wanna keep your elbows tight to your body because they start flaring, all of a sudden the muscles that you're trying to pinpoint are not really gonna be doing their job. So really rotate as much as you can outward, get a nice squeeze, and you're really gonna feel a slight burn kind of inside the rear shoulder area. And that's the rotator cuffs doing their job. What's so important about those smaller muscles is they're not really targeted or isolated too much. So they are very important to help with that shoulder stabilization. So this type of movement is really gonna help target them and strengthen them so that way your shoulders are always healthy and feeling good. And of course, once you get done with external rotations, we got a superset, and that's gonna be the standing shoulder press here. Boom, getting a little bit of a heavier band as you can see. Quick switch out, bring it right into place, and just pressing straight up. Now with the bands here, you'll notice I'm a little shaky, especially at that top position, because the bands are gonna require you to use a lot of stabilization to hold that band in this top position there. And this is really gonna work on not only your core, but all those small muscles.
And the way we design this plan is you have stage 1, stage 1.5, and the 0.5s are all the advanced stage. So if you're a little bit of a beginner, you can just do every single beginner stage one after the other, or you can do beginner advanced, or you can just do advanced. So you can customize it a little bit, and that's a cool thing. So if you're just getting started, if you've been at this a while, you can make it work for you. Yeah.
I can't forget about the calves, really working on that plantar flexion. Of course, a little bit of the resistance with the bands. Really the same kind of setup you would do with a squat. It's just the band wrapped around the base of your neck there, and your feet are anchoring the bands, and you're just lifting your body up with that plantar flexion, get that good squeeze in the calves at the top, and boom, that's it, baby. Moving on to crunches, and we anchored the band here on our squat rack and just kind of tied it there, looped it around, so that way it has a single loop on the bottom end, and pretty much just getting down on your knees there and doing crunches. Pretty simple this, but this time there's a nice resistance to the crunches. So you're gonna be pulling, flexing in your spine, pulling your elbows down to your knees. Don't keep your back straight and just kind of bring it down here. What you really wanna do is bend in the spine, and that's when you're gonna feel those abs burning and working. Now it's gonna wanna pull you back pretty fast, so that's really gonna take a lot of eccentric movement, which is really gonna work your abdominals as well. So you're not only concentrically pulling the band down to the bottom position, but now you're gonna have to really control it in an eccentric motion too, which that's what is pretty awesome about these bands. You have to concentrically contract, but then you always have to control that eccentric motion because they're gonna wanna whip you back in place as fast as they can.
We have the benefit of having a power rack that we can tie this into. And if you don't have that, but maybe you have a garage, let's say, you could always invest in something like a J hook into a stud in the ceiling. And that way you can use it time and time again. You may have seen something like the TRX systems, which use something similar. And then of course, if you don't happen to have either something to secure it with, either something that we have or a J hook, you could always substitute this one with just standard crunches or planks. Day one of the advanced stage is finished.
These bands are awesome.
They are. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
Mentally and physically.
Nice.
So we'll see you again for day 2 of the 1.5 advanced stage.
Which is also full body.
Yeah.